Hello, guys. Welcome to a new episode. My name is Vincenzo Toscano. I'm the CEO of Ecomcy, and today we have a special guest. Her name is Vanessa Hung. She's the CEO of Online Seller Solutions. They specialize on solving problems related to Amazon. And today we're going to be covering a very interesting topic, which is about how to handle effectively the communication with Seller Central Support. Vanessa, how are you doing today?
Hi, Vincenzo. Great. And you? Thank you for the invite.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you here. I know you have extensive knowledge regarding how to handle seller support, especially when dealing with problems related to your account, product suspension, and things like that. So it will be a pleasure to have you today and talk about how to handle these issues and solving them effectively. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. So I wanted to talk about this topic because many sellers get frustrated when they think about seller support. They are like, seller support is terrible. They don't help
Yeah.
me, or blah, 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 which I think is very far from the truth. Like, if you learn how to effectively communicate with them, that's the best resource you have to solve your problems. Um, one one of the main things is when sellers get to contact them, they obviously coming from a position of desperation, frustration, anger, because they have a problem, right? And
Yeah.
that's hurting their business, so they feel like attacked somehow. And that's where we start having issues. So it starts with that. It starts with the emotion or the situation when the seller contacts seller support, and when they are in that position, it's very hard to communicate effectively and
Yeah.
say the things that they need to listen in order to help you. So my first advice here is always when you contact seller support, try to put aside your emotions or your state of frustration and try to understand the problem from a like bigger perspective, right?
Yeah.
Once you do that, you will be able to communicate in a way that is not demanding or attacking for them, because that's the other thing that sellers forget about it when they talk to seller support. They're humans.
Yeah.
There are people like us that they get
That's correct.
frustrated, that they their feelings get hurt. Like,
Yeah.
they could be sensitive. Obviously, if you go for a job like that, customer service, where you start like talking to people that are always frustrated or in anger, probably you get a desensitivity there, but
Yeah. That's
still,
correct.
it's like a lot of pressure for them. So one of the best things that we have done, and we have, it's not even discovered because this is not a huge discovery, but having empathy for them and trying to explain things in a way that it's like, hey, I need help, do it with very much like care and respect. That's extremely important. I've seen cases where the seller insults them or yell at them, or
Mhm. Yeah.
write angry emails. When they write
Yeah.
emails in all capital letters, that's like
That's
the
the
worst
worst
you
thing.
can do. That's the
Yeah.
worst you can do, because they won't pay attention to desperate people, they won't pay attention to frustrated people. And the second thing that I could touch on, uh, regarding to that, is seller support doesn't know what type of seller you are. So
Yeah.
think about it. This is an open line for all the sellers to call them, right? To solve their issues. They are sellers that are starting, that started the day before, and there
Yeah.
are other ones that are been selling for quite a while on the platform.
Mm.
When we call them, they don't know what type of seller you are. And obviously they could see how old the account is, but not your expertise, right?
Yes.
So sometimes when I get into a call with them and they start like cookie cutter me with answers that don't make any sense, I will
Yeah.
say like, hey, I know what's going on here. This is not what it is. Like,
Yeah.
you need to pay attention, and you need to, or send me to somebody that can help me, or escalate this case because this is
Yeah.
not helpful. So I feel that we have a lot to say here when seller support give you an answer that is not accurate.
Yeah.
Many sellers just get frustrated and say like, "Oh my God, this is another cookie cutter answer. They don't work. They
Mm,
don't. They're useless or whatever." It's like, yes, if it's a bad answer, you can call them out and you can say like, "Hey guys, you are not listening to me. You are not understanding my problem," and
yeah.
this is where it gets extremely beneficial for you when you communicate very well your situation and your problem, because if they understand what is happening, they could lead you to a better solution, or they could refer you or escalate you to a better team. And
Yeah.
that's why when you communicate with them, you need to ask them, do you understand? And they
Yeah.
normally will tell back to you what you want. And
Yes.
sometimes you say like, okay, I need an apple with three slices, a three slices apple. And they're like, oh, you need a banana. And I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
I need an apple. So,
Yeah.
that's the thing that you really need to explain and explain why. That's the other part that I see sometimes with sellers. Imagine you have for example, a listing error, okay? And you just see that in your account, you get triggered, you get frustrated, then you start calling or you start emailing and super angry. It's like, why my listing is
Yeah.
suspended, or why is you didn't pause to
Mm,
reflect or to research why that's happening.
yeah.
It can probably be an issue on your end as a seller, and you're not aware of it because you just call them to say like, okay, fix this, and that's
Yeah.
not exactly how the system works. If
Yeah.
you go there saying like, hey, I have this situation, I have done all these steps, nothing has worked, and I don't know what to do next, that's where they can say like, okay. But if you go there, it's like, I just have an issue,
Yeah.
they will just find an easy way out.
Yeah.
And the third thing that I could say about it is like, understand they have metrics to perform.
Mm,
They need to perform at their job.
that's correct.
And
Yeah.
one of the main metrics they have is how long the calls last, right?
Hmm.
So if you think about it, their motive there is having the shorter call they can.
Yeah. To be efficient,
So
basically. Yeah.
they need to be efficient.
Yeah.
And what that means is that they will take any, um, they will give you any answer for you to just hang up the phone
That's
and to
correct. Any
end the
template
conversation.
answer. Yeah.
Yes. So
Yeah.
they want to hang the phone. Like
Yeah.
they really want to end the conversation. So
Yeah.
that's why if you make it harder, meaning like if you are disrespectful, frustrated, you don't understand not even what is happening to you, or you don't have any like backup information to back up your demand or your request, they will just tell you, okay, call us back whenever you have the information, or uh, they will give you a cookie cutter answer, and then it won't lead anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So having the information prior is extremely important, because that will make them be efficient and you be efficient.
Yeah.
So I feel that's the three key elements that I'll take in consideration next time you talk with seller support.
Yeah.
And I get that that's like a sometimes very hard ask,
Yeah.
because I mean there are problems there and they need to
Yeah.
solve
Yeah, I mean, we get that a lot. I think the main issue is that a lot of people use sales support more as a way to help them find what is the issue with the account. So most people, when they open a case, they don't know why the listing is down, or they don't know why the account is down, and they try to open these cases just to find out why that is happening. But the reality is that sales support is there to support you solve the issue, not tell you what is wrong. That's why it's very important for you to do your previous research, understand what you might be doing wrong. Otherwise, they're just gonna give you, as you're saying, a template answer, which is gonna get nowhere. Most of the time, if you keep opening cases and cases and cases, as you mentioned, they can see that, and it's gonna reach a point they are not gonna even answer, and your case is never gonna get solved. So I think it gets even worse, right?
yeah, yeah, actually
Yeah.
on that I seen last year I started seeing late last year um, answers from seller from cases saying like you if you keep opening cases for the same issue, we won't answer.
Yeah.
Like that's not even something that is in the policy, but I guess that this representative was very angry about it because that's a practice that I'm not uh I don't do it. I don't approve it. I think that's
Yeah.
not efficient,
It
and
gets you
it's the
nowhere.
yeah it
Yeah.
the fact of opening cases and cases and cases and cases and cases
I'm putting the
for
same
some
thing. They put the same thing, the same
yes
message, just hoping that some magic
yes
happens on the server.
exactly
So yeah, it happens a
100%.
lot.
So you don't do that. It gets I understand it gets sometimes frustrating when they keep closing cases, and
Yeah.
that's where you really need to step up and you need to send information like, hey guys, I opened this case, open case ABC, you know, 1, 2, 3, la la, la, all these cases, and I
Yeah.
haven't got any answer from you. Like, I need to understand what's happening. Like, this is not possible. Things like that, instead of like reopening the same case, go over and over again. Because
Yeah.
one of the things that Vincenzo is out there, like one mainstream idea, is the fact of oh you just keep doing it because at some point you will get lucky and
Yeah.
somebody that knows what they're doing they will take care of you
Yeah.
and I'm not fan of that approach so you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I think yeah, I have heard that a lot. That sometimes because there is this misconception out there, just as you said, that all people in seller central support they don't know what they're doing, and the belief comes that if you keep opening multiple cases, eventually somebody that is just maybe tired of seeing you opening cases, they're gonna give you the solution. That's it, which is not. I think it's very important to understand that if your case is not being solved, for sure there is something that is not working, something you're not explaining. Which this comes to my next question to you, which is, do you have any advice in terms of how usually you should approach them in terms of the SOP of what you should mention on your first message, like any specific yeah, any specific thing you usually like to present in your first message that you have seen helps a lot to move the case forward and get it solved?
Yeah, so for us the first thing we do is changing the title of the case, and that's
Okay.
something that you can easily do once you open the it doesn't matter if it's email or phone, you can
Mm-hmm.
change the name. Why? Because most of the times they assign a name based on the uh, from the all the options in the tree and menu.
Yeah.
They call it, for example, uploading issue. Okay, so they will
Mm-hmm.
call the case uploading issue,
I
or
see.
catalog review,
Mm-hmm.
or category change. They will
Mm-hmm.
call it like that without any other information, and that's
Mm.
bad because when once you start like having a lot of cases or reaching out like a couple of times a day for different issues, your case log it
Yeah.
becomes a mess. So
Yeah, I've
what
seen
we
that.
do, we use a convention for cases. So
Okay.
that's the first thing. We use a convention, something that works for us to track our progress, something
Mm-hmm.
that works like to track what's happening, like what's this case about. We easily can see the name of the case and we like super fast can know what's happening there. Like
Yeah.
what is the area, what's the scene, who opened the case, like all of that. So for us that was like a game changer, especially
Mm-hmm.
when tracking a lot of cases. The second thing, depending on how you're gonna open the case, if it's gonna be via email or phone, you have two approaches. So when you open via email, you need to be extremely clear. And this is like talking to a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
You really need to be extremely clear. You
Mm.
obviously can use some Amazon terms, like you
Mm.
obviously will use ASIN
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
FNSQ and stranded inventory. But as beside from that, like you really need to be extremely simple, extremely clear. Maybe don't create stories. So that's what I see a lot of the times.
Mm.
Sellers
Yeah.
start creating this story. like
Yeah, long
this
ones.
happened
Yeah,
because of this
yeah,
and that, and this is not a story.
yeah.
So try to limit that to no more than, I'll say, two paragraphs of
Okay.
probably or six sentences each
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for you to explain something. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and probably it's like the bigger picture, and then once they reply that, you can follow up with more information. One of the key things when you open cases via email, if so, Amazon now more than ever is using AI,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence, to answer things and to automate stuff. So they are automating a lot of the case log management.
Mm.
So once they see something, they take the main keywords and the AI just gonna take a template and it will answer you. So
Yes.
that's why sellers get frustrated. They said like,
Yeah.
oh, they used another cookie cutter. Yeah, of course, because it
Yeah.
was not a real person that saw your case. One of
Yeah.
the like kind of the loophole to pass through that is if you attach something to the case.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
it can be a screenshot, it can be like a document, it can be a flat file, for example.
Yeah.
Once you attach a document, the AI cannot read that document. So
Yes.
that will automatically have somebody, like a real person, see your case just because you have that attachment. Obviously, you don't. You need to start, or you need to send attachments that are related to the case. It's
Yeah.
not like you're gonna send a
Random
picture of
picture.
your daughter, like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, 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 it doesn't work like that. But it is important because you can get a real person super or easier than when you just write. When you use phone,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of characters that you can put in your description to explain the problem is limited.
Yes.
So you really need to make it short and sweet, explaining everything over the phone, but also follow up during the call. You start like everything that you're saying, you start typing because you're gonna reply that case with what you request on the call. And when you reply,
Mm.
you don't have a limit of characters that you can write.
Yes.
So what happened there, and this is funny, and we learned this the hard way, I guess. We started opening cases that were extremely successful, extremely
Mm.
successful. So
Okay.
over the phone, it's like one touch, we already solved it, perfect.
That's
But
great.
the problem is that, or no, it's not a problem, but one of the things that happened with case log and on Amazon is that you can refer to an old case to
Okay.
solve a current problem. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you have a listing deactivation 3 months ago, and you fix it. You call, you fix, and everything's done. If you only use calls, they don't really have the record of what it was said there, what they did. Like it's a
Yes.
little bit like empty or incomplete. The
No history.
picture is incomplete. Okay, so when, for example, if you get the same error again and you want to refer to that case, they won't see the whole picture. So what we do is, once we call and we are on the call, we explain everything. And while they're working, because they normally put you in a brief call, like, oh, let me investigate this or let me
Yes.
escalate the case, you start writing what you ask,
Mm.
explaining everything, and send it to the case. In that way, they will be able, or even you as a manager, you will be able to see what you request there, what was the approach you did with this
Yes.
case,
Okay.
and you'll have notes, right?
That's great.
Because when you just call and they solve their problem, you don't
Yeah.
know what happened there. You
No
don't know what
record.
happened in that call, right?
That's great.
So
That's
we
very
need to
useful.
have
Yeah.
that communication. And and yeah, obviously um, when you do calls, it's very important what I said at the beginning. Like, be very uh like stoic with your
Yeah.
emotions and, and,
Yeah.
and the reason why you're
Be
calling.
polite also
Yeah,
how you
polite.
express your idea and
Uh,
everything.
have empathy for
Yeah.
them. and yeah, try to treat them well. I One of the other mainstream ideas that is out there is like, oh, seller support is amazing in Costa Rica, but it
Yeah,
sucks in
the
India,
typical trick. Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Classic, classic.
yeah,
I I don't know. I sometimes have mixed feelings with this idea because
yeah,
I had people in Costa Rica that were not helpful at all,
yeah.
and I had people in India that were
The
extremely
same.
helpful.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think
I don't.
yeah, it's a relay. I think sometimes you're gonna get great people, sometimes not. It's not something based on location. It's just like
Yes,
anything. It's based
es-
on luck. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of like Facebook groups and people that message me say like, no, I open
The
the
case and
case.
request.
Yeah, the case, and I request sending me somebody to send me to Costa Rica
Oh, you speak
or something
Spanish.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So um,
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that practice, but people say that it was helpful.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't. I just don't do it. I don't use that. I
Yeah,
don't.
me neither.
We don't really leverage that as much as people think. So probably some people that see this video will say like, "Oh, but this Vincenzo and Vanessa, they know Spanish, so that's why they get things done."
Yeah.
And far from that. Far from that,
Yeah.
we almost never use Spanish to communicate with seller support.
Yeah, the same.
And when we do, it's like, okay, this is I really need you to understand what is happening, and we
Yeah.
only use it in those like extreme cases.
Yeah, very specific case.
Yeah,
Okay, that's great. And let me ask you, have you tried also the live chat option with
not
support? What is your
yes.
experience with that? Yeah,
So you know what? I've seen live chat available more for Europe
yeah,
than for the States.
that's correct.
So in Amazon.com, live chat, I don't think it's available, not in all accounts, but also not in all departments. So
Yes.
you know, the seller support is divided in different departments. There is the catalog team, the fulfillment team, the
Yes.
account team, payments, and all of that. Not all departments have live chat, and in the states is less the amount of accounts and the amount of options that we have
Hmm.
to do live chat. We have
Okay.
done it a lot in Germany and
Yes.
the UK. That's
Yeah. Yeah. In
available.
UK we use it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have that feature in the states. For now, in the accounts that we see,
Okay.
some people here may have it, and I seen it. Like I seen the possibility to chat in the states, but it's not in all of the accounts. So I
Okay.
think that's great. I think that's really good because at the same time you could be able to seeing stuff and moving
Yeah. Faster
not as
interaction.
fast. Yeah, not as fast as a call because in the call you need to react
Boom.
really
Boom.
quick.
Boom. Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Sometimes, for example, if in a call they ask you, "Oh, but you have this document," and you don't have it right away,
You don't know what
that
to
you can
do.
upload it, probably you're gonna lose that call. And
Yeah.
that's something that I recommend sellers to do. Prepare. When you go there and ask for something, ask for whatever, do your research and prepare. Go there like if you were a
Yeah.
lawyer defending your case. And that's how
Yeah.
I feel. Or
Yeah.
that's how we feel when we go in the agency to open cases and do stuff. We are the lawyer. We need to
Yeah.
defend the seller and we need to get all the proof that we can. Like
Yeah.
pictures, documents,
Everything.
screenshots, like everything that you think they may ask you, have it ready because if you're on a call and you don't have that, they will hang up the phone for sure.
Yeah.
With live chat, I think that you still have some like
Yeah.
time there to
Yeah. They
respond.
wait for you. Like they ask you, "Are you still there? Do you need more time?" And
Exactly,
then
exactly.
it's better for you. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you can leverage the chat, I'll do it. We still don't have it fully on Amazon.com. Um, but yeah, Europe is
Okay.
it's
That's
amazing.
great. And actually, another question I also had regarding using call or email support case. Do you have some specific scenarios when you might think that calling might solve you the issue faster? Like, for example, I don't know, like in your experience, do you think that when you have, for example, a listing suspended, is it faster by calling or by raising an email case? Is there any really preferences in terms of issues that are solved faster by independent methods like just phone or just email, or it's really random based on your experience?
No, it's not random. There are departments, for example, the FBA department.
Hmm.
That's one that contacting them by email, it's the easiest one, especially because there is not a lot of like troubleshooting that you do there. It's
Hmm.
like more like, okay, we have this issue, guys. Can you solve it? Like,
Yeah.
can you make the bin check? Can you check why this is unfulfillable? Can you check what happened with this, like shipment? Can this and that. Um, for the catalog though, that's a different story because
Hmm.
sometimes we need more information. We need to see what's happening. La la la. My personal preference, and this I know it's not efficient in my end because I have so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
I love talking in the phone. Like I love it,
Yeah.
me personally.
That's great.
If I could open the cases for everything via phone, I'll do it. That's not efficient. That's not what I
I know.
recommend. That's not what we do in the agency.
Yeah.
So we have different departments now. Even this is something even bigger than just the personal preference on the person that is opening the case. Is that for some departments, Amazon doesn't even have the option for you to call.
Mm.
It's just
Yes.
email.
Yes.
So yeah, they cut there. Um, when I think I need to do hardcore problem solving or troubleshooting something that I don't understand at all,
Yeah.
having a call is better. When it's something like, I don't know, a reimbursement, a refund, or a clarification on something, or a request to remove a negative feedback, or things like that, that's email for sure. You don't really
Yes.
need to explain a lot because that's the other thing. When you request a process that it already exists, it's easy for them. So, for example,
Yeah.
if you request a reimbursement, you do
Mm.
it via email. If you request a bin check, you do it via email. If you request a category change, you do it via email. Because those are streamlined processes that they have. And once you put all the information in the case, they will be able to do it. But when, for example, you have something in the catalog, like a listing is suppressed and you are
Yeah.
not able to get it active, or a variation is splitted and you don't know what's happened, obviously there are more like thinking and troubleshooting and like, let me see what's happening here and happening there, because it's not a like a streamlined process where they say like, okay, this is that. And that's where sometimes people come to us and they ask a question like, why is my listing deactivated?
Yeah.
And we're like, we don't know, we need to research, we need to
Yeah.
investigate, or what happened if I do this? And we say like, well, it depends. It
Yeah.
depends on so many things that are happening in your account.
Okay.
So personal preference, the phone.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not efficient. We don't use it as much, but I mean, also for sellers
Yes.
that are starting,
Mm-hmm.
and this is important. Seller support is a tool for sellers, uh, not only to solve problems or to like get tickets or issues resolved, but also to learn. So if you
Yes.
ever have a question, you could call them and ask. So
That's great.
that's
Yeah.
where I feel that there is support there that you can leverage. And once you start like learning a little bit more, or your team is learning about how things are done, that's where you get that experience. And next time you call, it'll be better, and it get better with time.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Especially, I mean, have worked with some sellers that are getting started, and they had also good experiences, as you mentioned, asking questions. Like, for example, questions like, "What information do I need to get approved by this category?" And they give you all the requirements in the response. Or for example, how can I sell this specific variation, or specific questions that maybe they are easy for people with experience, but for you, it's more efficient to just ask raise a case, and within a few hours you get the response right, and go into a YouTube video or something that maybe you don't know how reliable is that information. And
exactly.
I mean, of course, there are cases when I'm sure you agree with this, that sometimes the information Seller Central give you is not fully accurate. in some scenarios. Like they tell you something that, like for example, they could tell you that some specific change to your listings is not gonna affect your ranking, and then it ends up affecting things like that. But I
Yes,
think overall, they are very efficient in terms of at least the guidance for new sellers. In fact, for what I can see on my point of view. Yeah.
100%. I agree. And yeah, that's where the experience will tell you a lot about um, the person that is helping you and if the information is accurate.
Yes, 100%. Well, Vanessa, I think to be honest, all this is very useful. I mean, so many tips to get around how to handle Seller Central support, which we all know is a topic that a lot of people struggle nowadays, and some people have some mixed feelings. But I
Yeah.
appreciate all the tips and all the knowledge around that. And once again, I want to thank you for being here and sharing all your knowledge. And please let me know how people can reach out to you, because I know you have an agency that actually specializes on this. So it will be very useful for people to know.
Sure. So if you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Online Seller Solutions. My personal kind of personal brand in the industry is Full Time Amazon. Um, Fulltime.amazon on Instagram, Full Time Amazon on Facebook. And if you want to reach out to my team or me to solve a problem, see a case, or whatever is happening in your account, it's Vanessa at fulltimeamazon.com. That's that's my email, or hello at fulltimeamazon.com. Either or works the same. And yeah, we're there sharing a lot of information and a lot of like unsexy stuff about how to manage your Seller Central account on social media. So yeah,
That's great. I appreciate that. Hopefully, I can have you on a new episode in Spanish as well to talk around other topics. But yeah, once again, I appreciate having you here. See you on the next one. Yeah.
yes, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.